Hey guys, welcome back again from Daytona Beach. Today I've got a review of the new 2017 Yamaha FZ09. Now this has some very significant upgrades to the previous model, which is a very successful bike for Yamaha. And I am particularly interested in these upgrades because it may mean I'm finally interested in this bike. I was really interested in it on paper when it came out until I rode it, and then it was horrible. Notably, new suspension. They originally had a pretty lackluster suspension on this guy. Find them in a clutch zone there. It's kind of spongy. This has the slipper clutch that Yamaha is putting on most of their other line now. Actually, it didn't even feel like it went into first. This engagement zone is pretty much the last 10% of the clutch travel, and that's it. That's why I thought it was in neutral there for a second. Really not a fan of that, but it's something to get used to. Anyway, they changed the suspension on, what was it, the SCR, the other variant of this, last year, and it was a huge improvement. Well, they finally put it on this year's production, FZ09. And I can already tell it's riding a lot firmer, a lot better. I'm expecting the exact same ride as that review I did, so the suspension should be completely settled. But what I'm really excited to try here is the seat. They've made it normal. It's no longer slanted, and I'm no longer sliding my nuts into the tank. This feels absolutely fine now. Very narrow. In fact, my legs are hitting the tank, but not the seat. I feel like I'm on a bicycle. I really do. Not a real fan of this seat still. However, at least I'm not sliding forward. But I feel like I'm on a bicycle because I can feel it on the back of my butt, but not on my legs. I feel nothing on my thighs because it's so narrow, it dips out. So my knees hit before my legs hit the seat. This bike is known for its torque and its flickability. I am in standard mode. It does have A mode, which is, I guess, for more economy, and B mode, which is for touring. I would imagine that B mode gives you a softer roll-on, kind of like the FJR's touring mode does. But they all give you, as far as I know at least, full power at full throttle. So it's not like it dumbs it down. It's not like the true race modes of the R1, for example. This is just a throttle delivery mode, not an overall computer power mode. But I'll just leave it in standard for the review here. The suspension, the transmission, the actual shifting, very nice and smooth, no problem there. But the shifter itself, not a fan. It's gummy. I'm in first now, and I'm trying to watch these guys crash in front of me. The thing is, give the beans. Front end was starting to come up there. I did not hit red line, and I was leaned forward. This also has a Yoshi pipe on it, by the way. So if you hear it sounding a little different than stock, that's what it is. I don't think it gives really anything appreciable to power. It feels the same as it always has for me. But what I was saying about, what was I saying? Brain fart. Oh, the shifter. The peg itself, it's gummy. See, I'm in first. It should be bottomed out, and it still moves down. It kind of bends. It's so thin that the actual peg flexes. I don't like that. That's why I thought it was kind of stuck in neutral, and I was trying to shift down into first. I like it when it's in first. It does not move, but this has a lot of flex in both the parts and the internal transmission. So not a fan of that, but minor point. It's just something to note because, well, frankly, hardly any other bikes do it, especially Yamaha. So it's kind of unique. All right, let's check out the fit here. I'm 6'2", and I have no clearance underneath me when I stand up. I'm flat footing it fine. I have a 32-inch inseam. However, if you're any shorter than that, that's it. You're out of room. So it is a very tall bike, even though it's very narrow. It's not going to eat up your inseam, but it's going to use every bit of it. So I'm standing up right now and the suspension doesn't really move much. It squats down maybe an inch when I sit on it, put my weight on it, but it's a tall bike, make no mistake about it. Tank has very nice spacing for my legs here. I love the sound of the pipe. It actually sounds really good, especially as it revs up here. Let's see, I'm trying to read the tack. It's hard to see the number, but it's easy to see the bars. It's got a very nice overrun sound. I love that. I'm a huge fan of overrun in cars or bikes or whatever. I love it. And I think we're going to wait for the next cycle here. So aesthetically, or orally, however you want to say it, definitely a fan of the Yoshi pipe. It's not a cheap option, I know, at least on most bikes. This is all cable actuated. The clutch is not bad. It's on the light side, definitely. But keeping it actually held into the bar, it has some tension to it. It's a lighter pull as it goes out, but then gets stiffer the closer it gets to the bar. Let's see how much torque we've got here in fourth. We'll do a roll on it. Oh, nope. They're waiting for us. Let's try a top gear roll on. 30 miles an hour. Not especially super quick, but it doesn't complain. Great cornering. Just kind of floats around the corners. It's still not a sporty suspension by any stretch of the imagination. It's very comfortable. You just kind of tootle around. I'm not going to say the bike feels light. On paper, it is, but it's kind of top heavy. It's got a big tank. I would imagine it's full of fuel right now, and you do sit up very high on it, so the overall center of gravity is pretty high. You definitely feel it. Soak that up. That was a huge gaping pothole, and it didn't even care. So if you're expecting on rails tight suspension, this is not going to be the setup for you. But it is a great comfy city commuter. Certainly it's going to tackle any kind of road you throw at it. Bars are slightly wider than average. Grips are nice and small. Does have a pretty good complement of electronics. The gauge is a little hard to read. I have a lot of glare on it right now, just from overcast sky behind me, and it's obscuring a lot of the numbers. The speedo is easy enough to read. And everything else is pretty much just scattered around. You get a fuel gauge in the upper right. I don't think anything's changed with the actual gauge package from the previous FZ09. I mean, it works well enough, but nothing really special. I do like the sound of that pipe. It's definitely better when you rev it up. And you can tell the power band starts to peak around 4,000 RPM. Starts building up from there. It has plenty of low-end torque. This is not anything that you're going to accidentally want to stall out or anything like that. Plenty of low-end torque at any RPM. Man, we are catching all the lights today. Suzuki definitely had a better route planned. Love the pop on that D-cell. Sounds really mean. Now this is an 850cc triple. So the big question, would these changes mean I'm interested in buying this bike again? Hard to say. For the money, it is definitely a bargain. Although I'd have to see the price on that Yoshi pipe. I'm really serious, I would buy it with the pipe. Man, this clutch is really stiff at the bars. Like stiff enough where I don't want to hold it at a red light stiff. Very nice and light in the actual engagement zone. Like here, this is one finger until it starts to disengage. But then the last half inch at the bar itself, twice as heavy. Huh. I can hear the transmission whine here in third. Wonder if that's a direct ratio gear. Nothing in fourth. Plenty of torque. I mean, whatever gear you're in. Fourth gear just jumps. Has some harmonics to it, even though it's a single exhaust. Just sounds mean. I'm just enjoying the rumble. Downshifting is very smooth. Slipper clutch definitely makes a difference. I'm quite used to it now that I've been running one for a while. It's one of those things where, is it necessary? No, absolutely not. But once you have one, you don't really want to go back. They're not expensive, especially at a new bike. It's just different parts. It's not adding any new parts, so the cost is negligible. It's often a very low-end upgrade to any bike, especially if you already need a clutch for some reason. So we've got this little tiny smoked screen on the front. I don't know how much it's just for looks and how much it's doing. I feel the airflow. It's actually hitting me about chin level. It's quiet. I don't have a whole lot of wind noise at all. It sounds like a freaking race car. It really does. I can't overstate how great the sound is. And it's not even obnoxiously loud. It's just such a pleasant tone. You get on it, it has plenty of volume though. Okay, I would have to say that yes, I would actually plunk down the cash and buy one of these now. It is quite comfortable. Absolutely a blast to ride. More power than you need. And like I said before, for the price, I think is an excellent bargain. It's priced where it should be, especially if you can get a deal. And absolutely, positively, yes, the changes they made dramatically improved this bike. Not only the suspension, which really wasn't a major point for me. I just accepted it that it was on the soft side to begin with. But now it just works the way you want it to work. And I don't ride on a track. I ride on real streets. And this is very comfortable. I've been trying to hit all these ruts and little bumps. And I feel them. They're there, but they're not bothering me. They're not upsetting the bike at all. It's quite comfortable. My butt's not sore. My nuts are intact. So, mission accomplished. Everything else on the bike, they nailed to begin with. I'm used to a relatively top-heavy bike, so this is absolutely nothing for me to ride. If you're a first-time rider, this probably isn't going to be the bike for you. Number one, it does have a lot of power, for its weight especially. And number two, it's tall. Number three, it's got that high center of gravity, and you put those three together, that means tipped over bikes for a lot of people, no matter what kind of bike it is. So there you go, guys. This has been the 2017 Yamaha FZ09. It's got a bunch of other new stuff too, but it's mostly cosmetic. You can check that out on your own. I just go over what's important about the bike itself, stuff you can't get off a spec sheet. That's how I like to do my reviews. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Give me a thumbs up and we'll see you next time. I'm just noticing on the price sticker down here, $1,000 for that Yoshi pipe. So there you go. Is the sound worth $1,000? I actually think it is. This also has a $300 comfort seat. I'm gonna have to sit on the regular one now just to tell you guys what the difference is, if I can feel any difference. Usually the Yamaha comfort seat option doesn't really do a whole lot. And this has a $135 front cowl. So that's your little smoke screen thing there, which I don't think is doing anything. And $100 in carbon fiber frame covers. Couldn't care less.